Hey everybody, how you doing? Dash and Dave here again. Alright, so my last video that I posted was how I pick and choose my orders, under my minimum $2 per mile strategy. So I've asked myself the question, and I'm sure some of you have too, how far can you push it, Dave? Well, let's find out. Here are all the job offers that I accepted that Saturday, January 22nd, 2022, in a 5-hour period, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. On the left-hand side here, we see the totals. I brought in $108.97. I drove 44.55 miles. Now, that's just the miles associated with each individual job, not my mileage for the entire day. Quick note, the adjust line there you see at 225, those were some hidden tips that were associated with a couple orders that I'm not really sure which ones they were. So I left that 225 in across the board just to keep everything the same. So as I noted, I worked 5 hours. That was $21.79 per hour and an average dollar per mile of $2.45. Again, the mileage is just the job mileage, not the mileage for the whole day. Every job paid right at my metric or above, with the exception of the Duncan order that came in at $1.48 per mile, and that was the one when I was pretty far south of Campus Town, and I just took that order to, quote, pay me to get back up into the heart of the town, if you will. Alright, moving over to the middle calculator, this is at a minimum $2.50 per mile metric if those were the only orders that I took. So I stripped out everything that paid less than $2.50 per mile. And you can see quite a radical difference there in the totals. Almost 50% cut. 55.47 made versus 108.97, and the per hour rate dropped all the way to 11.09 versus 21.79. Wow, wow, wow. Moving over to the furthest right calculator, this is at a minimum of $3 per mile based on all the orders that were offered to me on that day. Had I only chose minimum $3 per mile. We strip out everything but the 3 orders, the Tropical Taco John stacked order and the 2 Panera double orders. They were the only ones that clocked in over that minimum $3 per mile metric. And the totals again, $29.47 overall, $5.89 per hour. So I think it's safe to say, at least for me in my market, minimum $2 per mile is the maximum metric that I can use. Otherwise, I'm taking money out of my pocket. Now, this is only one day and only 5 hours out of a day, but I'm going to guess that for the most part, I'm going to find this to be true across the board, no matter how many hours I work or how many days I work and what day it is that I work. And I mentioned before, these double and stacked orders are really some pretty good orders when you look at them by themselves over on the far right there. For this day, for this 5-hour period, they alone were worth $29.47 total and $5.89 per hour a part of my day. Okay, so I was going to end the video at this point, and I thought, hey, let's duplicate this one more time. So here we're looking at the numbers for Monday, January 24th, 2022. This Monday was kind of a weird Monday. It was fairly slow in town, and I seemed to be chasing the $2 per mile metric, and it was getting a little hairy. Then I got some sweetheart deals. Holy smokes. First of all, in the light green there, we see the Perkins Panera double order that came across, and those restaurants are literally right next door to each other. And you see that paid $11.50, but it had a hidden tip of $5.15. Thank you very much. Made those deliveries, and then I got an order for Pepper Jacks. I'm at Pepper Jacks, and then it asked me if it can tack on a Hy-Vee meal that is 700 feet further than my destination. I thought, hell yeah, so I took it. Turned out it was going to the same apartment complex, apartment 6 and 7. Instead of 740 feet or whatever it said, it was actually 4 feet. That was a sweetheart, man. Made those deliveries, got another Hy-Vee meal order. I was there, and then it asked me if it could tack on the tropical smoothie. Those were going to the same physical address. Hot damn. These 4 orders, 2 stacked orders, saved my day. And like I've said before, when you set down a strategy or some rules, don't play hard and fast. Look at that Perkins there for $9.75. It only clocked in at $1.88 per mile, but hey, I'm not going to turn down almost $10. And then the last order of the day was Panera Bread Pepper Jacks double at 13 that only paid $1.69 per mile, but damn, $13, just couldn't turn that down. So we come down to the bottom there. I had a total of $129.75, 6.25 hours that paid $20.76 per hour, and my average dollar per mile was $2.82. All right, let's move over to the middle calculator and strip out everything that didn't pay a minimum of $2.50 per mile. All right, we look at the totals. $62.90 for the same 6.25 hours, $10.06 per hour, average buck per mile is $5.04. Again, just like we saw previously in Saturday, just raising the metric 50 cents to $2.50 per mile minimum from a minimum of $2 per mile strips out almost 50% of the revenue offered to me that day. Moving over to the right calculator, minimum $3 per mile. Now, note here that we had to strip out the Pepper Jacks Hy-Vee meal stack because the Pepper Jacks came in first and it only clocked in at $2.72 per mile. So under the $3 per mile minimum metric, let's just say that I decided not to take that. I would not have then picked up the Hy-Vee meal. Okay, that went to apartment 7. So looking at the totals, we got $44.40 for the 6.24 hours, which comes down to $7.10 per hour and $5.78 per mile average. So again, I think it's safe to say in my market, I'm at the maximum that I can push it, and that's asking a minimum of $2 per mile and, you know, playing a little loose with that here and there. So the one variable that we cannot account for is when I was doing a minimum of $2 per mile, picking and choosing my offers, had I declined everything that was not meeting the minimum of $2.50 per mile metric, would a couple of those popped up that I otherwise would not have seen because I was working on $2 per mile jobs. And then of course the same thing holds true at the minimum of $3 per mile. If I was declining everything that didn't meet that metric, would a couple of those popped up that I otherwise did not see. And of course, you know, extrapolating out from what we have seen here, maybe one or two in each case, but that's not going to give me the hourly pay over a long stretch of hours. Yes, the $5.78 per mile under the $3 minimum metric looks absolutely spectacular, but the gross pay and the revenue coming in isn't going to pay my bills. So I think it's safe to say, at least right now in my market, I am right up against the wall. Minimum $2 per mile job, you know, playing with it a little bit here and there and taking one that might be $1.80 or $1.75. That's good for me. Because as we've seen, that is resulting in $20 to $22 gross pay per hour. This has been a pretty satisfying experimental study here for me. You know, I was curious, am I leaving any money on the table? And I think we can definitively say, as of right now, no, I'm not. You know, as I've said before, this Doordash delivery gig, it's a complex jigsaw puzzle, and you got to figure out how to put it together. All right, guys and gals, that's all I've got for you today. Hopefully you can take something from this video and put it to use for yourself. Thanks for coming along for the ride, and hope to see you next time.